Soft sunlight leaks through half-open curtains. A kettle whistles faintly in the background. Michael, 38, sits at the dining table, sketchbook open, pencil resting between his fingers. His eyes are distant, half awake, half lost in thought. Across from him, Elena, mid-30s, pours coffee into two mismatched mugs. She hums softly, a tune she hums every morning, though Michael rarely notices any more. The sound of a spoon stirring echoes in the silence. Michael, VO, soft, reflective. They say marriage gets easier with time. I used to believe that knowing someone's habits, their size, their favorite songs, the way they look when they're lost in thought, meant safety. I thought love meant familiarity. Lena sets his mug in front of him with a faint smile, the kind that says, I care, even when she's tired. Alina, you've got that meeting today, right? The big one? Michael? Yeah, shouldn't take long. Elena, nodding, quiet. Good. Don't skip lunch again, please. He gives a faint chuckle, but it's automatic, not warm. She notices, but doesn't press. Inti. Bedroom, evening. The room is softly lit. Elena sits cross-legged on the bed, grading student essays. Michael works at his laptop, blue light reflecting off his face. A clock ticks loudly, the kind of silence that feels heavy between people who used to talk for hours. Michael, VO. We didn't fight much. We didn't talk much either. Just quiet evenings filled with the sound of keys tapping and papers shuffling. I told myself this was peace. That silence meant comfort. Elena glances at him, wanting to say something, anything, but swallows the words. She rubs her wrist absent-mindedly, glancing toward a half-finished painting leaning against the wall. Elena. You think we'll ever finish that? Michael, Elena. The painting. The one for the living room. Michael. Oh, yeah. Someday. She nods softly. That word someday lingers like a quiet goodbye. Neither of them recognizes yet. TXTU. Front porch. Night rain clouds hang overhead. Street lights flickering. Michael stands outside, taking a call. His voice is calm, but distracted. Elena opens the door slightly, wrapped in a blanket. She watches him, the man she loves, yet feels miles away from. Michael, VO. Sometimes love isn't loud. It's not fireworks or shouting matches. Sometimes it's just two people standing in the same space, but living in different worlds. He ends the call and gives her a small smile, the kind people give when they want things to feel normal. Elena, you're always working lately. You'll wear yourself out. Michael, it's just a busy week. You know how it gets. She nods again, the same quiet nod. The rain begins to fall, and they both stand in silence, pretending the distance isn't there. NET. Kitchen. Another morning, Elena makes breakfast. She burns the toast slightly. Michael laughs softly. Michael, VO. There were still small moments. Her burnt toast, my awful coffee, her humming, my quiet smiles, little things that made life seem okay. He watches her move. Graceful, tired, beautiful. He doesn't tell her that. She brushes crumbs off the table, smiling faintly to herself. Elena, we should take that trip you keep talking about. Just us. Michael, yeah, let's plan it next month. She hesitates. She's heard that before. Elena, next month. Then, the words hang in the air like a promise that neither of them truly believes. Int. Bedroom. Night Michael lies in bed, unable to sleep. The faint sound of Elena's breathing fills the room. He turns to look at her, peaceful, unaware. He reaches out, almost touching her hand, but stops. Michael, V.O. When you've known someone for years, you start believing you've said everything there is to say. You stop noticing the silence until it's too late. He closes his eyes. The ticking clock grows louder. Fade out, Michael, V.O. If I'd known how close we were to losing everything, I would have listened more. I would have looked closer. But I didn't. Not then. The sky is bruised with thunderclouds. Rain pours hard, flooding the empty road. Headlights blur against the downpour. A car horn echoes, sharp, desperate, and then silence. Fade to black. SFX. The sound of metal twisting, glass shattering, a woman's muffled cry, NTT. Michael and Elena's house, living room night. Night. The phone rings in the background. Michael is at his desk, still working late, rain tapping against the windows. He doesn't answer at first, too focused, too tired. Then another ring, then another. He sighs and picks it up. Michael. Hello? Beat. His expression freezes. His face drains of color. He doesn't speak again, just listens, his hand trembling slightly. The phone slips from his grip and hits the floor. Michael, V.O. They said it was quick, that she didn't feel a thing, but those words don't help when you're the one left behind. He stands in the middle of the room, staring at nothing. The rain outside grows heavier. Montage! Days later, Michael at the funeral, staring at the closed casket, unable to cry. Empty chairs in their home, her cup still beside his, her clothes folded neatly on the bed, the half-finished painting leaning against the wall, untouched. Michael, V.O. The house felt too big without her. Every sound was louder. The fridge, the clock, the wind. People told me to eat, to sleep, to move on. But how do you move on from a voice that still fills the room? Int. Bedroom. Afternoon, sunlight filters through the blinds. Michael sits on the floor surrounded by boxes of her things, photos, scarves, notebooks. He handles each item with careful hands, like they might break if he holds them wrong. He opens a drawer and finds a scarf, soft, faded blue, wrapped around something. He unravels it slowly and reveals a small, leather-bound diary. He stares at it, frozen. The initials E.R. pressed into the cover. Michael, V.O. She always kept things, letters, receipts, tiny notes she'd never throw away. But a diary? She'd never mentioned one. He traces his fingers over the edges. His breathing grows uneven. He hesitates, torn between curiosity and guilt. He whispers softly to himself, Michael, you're gone. But you left this. Why? He turns the diary over in his hands. For a moment, he sets it aside, as if not touching it might bring her back somehow. But then he reaches for it again. Michael, V.O. I told myself it wasn't my place, that some things should stay private. But grief makes you hungry for answers, for reasons, for anything that might help you understand what you've lost. He exhales slowly, clutching the diary, like it's the last piece of her he has left. Michael, V.O. And so I opened the first page, not knowing it would change everything I ever believed about us. Rain still hums against the window. The diary rests on Michael's lap, its worn cover catching faint light from the bedside lamp. He stares at it for a long time before finally opening to the first page. The handwriting is neat, soft, the kind that belongs to someone patient. Michael, V.O., June 5th. He smiled at me today across the kitchen table. I think that's my favorite part of mornings, when he smiles before the world takes him away. Michael exhales shakily. For the first time in days, he smiles too. Small, broken, but real. He turns another page. Michael, V.O., July 12th. We spent the evening painting. He's terrible with colors, but I love watching him try. I think he laughs more when he's not thinking about work. I wish those moments lasted longer. Cut to flashback. Int living room. Evening, Elena laughs, dabbing blue paint on Michael's cheek. He tries to look serious, but can't hold back a grin. The room glows warm with laughter and lamplight. Michael, V.O. Her laugh. It used to fill every corner of this house. And somewhere along the way, I stopped hearing it. He keeps reading. Michael, V.O. August 23rd. He's been quiet lately. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's me. I keep reaching for him. But sometimes it feels like he's already gone. Even when he's right beside me. Michael's expression tightens. He lowers the diary, staring into nothing. Michael, V.O. I told myself I was just tired, that she understood. I never thought she felt alone. He flips another page, slower this time, afraid of what comes next. NT, kitchen. Day, flashback. Elena stands by the counter, watching Michael pack his briefcase. Elena, you'll be home early today. Michael, I'll try. Big project deadline. She nods, smiles softly. A smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Elena. Okay. Be safe. He kisses her cheek without really looking at her. The door closes behind him. Her smile fades. Michael, V.O. I didn't notice her pause after I left, or how long she stood there in silence. I didn't see how small her world was becoming while mine kept getting bigger. NNT. Bedroom, night. Michael's hands shake as he keeps reading. Michael, V.O., September 10th. I miss him, even when he's home. He doesn't see it. The way I wait for him to ask me about my day. Maybe it's silly. Maybe that's just what love becomes after years. A tear slides down his cheek. He wipes it away, but another follows. He looks at her picture on the nightstand. Her bright smile frozen in time. Michael, softly. I was right there. How didn't I see it? He turns to the next page, heart pounding. Michael, V.O., September 20th. I know he loves me. I just don't think he knows how anymore. He closes the book for a moment, clutching it to his chest like a wounded heart. The room feels smaller, heavier, memories pressing in from every corner. In tours, it's living room. Later that night, Michael sits in the dark, the diary open beside a flickering candle. Each word feels like a blade and a blessing. Every page, both love and loss. Michael, V.O. The first pages were full of warmth, laughter, simple love. And then, slowly, it all began to fade. Her words became my mirror, showing me everything I'd forgotten to see. He reads one last line before closing the diary for the night. Michael, V.O. I still believe in us. I just wish he'd believe too. Michael leans back, staring into the dim light, silent tears running down his face. Michael, V.O. Love doesn't die all at once. It fades, one missed moment at a time. He looks at the diary again, half fearful, half desperate, as if the next page might finally tell him when it all started to go wrong. Morning light creeps through half-closed curtains. Michael hasn't slept. The diary rests open beside him, pages curled slightly from his trembling hands. He takes a deep breath and turns to the next entry. Michael, V.O. October 3rd. I woke up before him again. I just watched him sleep, wondering when the last time was that he reached for me first. I used to feel his warmth even when we didn't speak. Now it feels like we're sharing a house, not a life. Michael's jaw tightens. He remembers. Mornings filled with silence, his eyes fixed on his phone, his coffee gone cold. Michael, V.O. She was right there, and I was somewhere else, always somewhere else. Flashback, int, kitchen. Morning, Alina sits alone at the table, untouched breakfast in front of her. Michael rushes out, phone at his ear, briefcase in hand. Michael, V.O. I told myself I was working for us, for her, but I can't remember the last time I asked her if that was what she wanted. Int, bedroom, continuous. He flips the page, almost afraid. Michael, V.O. October 18th. I went for a walk today. It was quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you realize how empty you feel. I watched other couples laugh. I tried to remember when we stopped doing that. Maybe we forgot how. Maybe we stopped trying. He exhales, eyes red. Each word feels like a wound he's reopening himself. Michael, V.O. I remember that day. She called me at lunch. I let it go to voicemail. I said I'd call back later. I never did. Flashback, int. City Street. Day Elena walks alone under gray skies, autumn leaves swirling around her. She pauses, looks at her phone. No message. Her smile fades. Michael, V.O. That's how love dies, not from fights or anger, but from the silence between the calls that never come. T. Bedroom. Night he continues reading. Michael, V.O. November 2nd. I keep writing because it's the only place I still feel heard. He doesn't notice when I cry anymore. Maybe he does, and just doesn't know what to say. Sometimes I wish he'd just hold me, even if it's without words. Michael presses his lips together, trying to stay composed. He can almost hear her voice. Soft, trembling, full of hope even in her pain. He closes his eyes and whispers, Michael, softly. I should have held you. God, I should have just held you. Enenent. Living room. Night. Flashback. Elena sits curled on the couch, blanket around her shoulders. The TV flickers quietly. Michael enters, exhausted from work, barely glancing at her before heading upstairs. She watches him disappear, eyes glistening. Michael. V.O. That's the night I thought she was mad at me. I didn't realize she was just lonely. Int bedroom. Present, the rain returns, tapping gently against the window. Michael keeps reading, tears finally spilling freely. Michael. V.O. November 15th. I still love him. I know he loves me too. I just think we forgot how to meet each other halfway. Maybe one day he'll find this and understand how I felt. Not to blame him, but so he knows I was waiting for him to come back to me. He freezes. The words echo through the room like a confession and a goodbye all at once. Michael slowly closes the diary, holding it against his heart. Michael, V.O. She wasn't angry. She wasn't bitter. She was just waiting for me to come home. And I never did. The rain grows heavier, drowning the silence. Michael sits motionless, staring at the diary, realizing that he's reading the echoes of a woman who had already disappeared, long before she was gone. Michael, V.O. Loneliness isn't the absence of love. It's love with nowhere left to go. He finally breaks, head in hands, sobbing quietly as the room dims around him. The rain hasn't stopped. Michael sits on the edge of the bed, the diary open on his lap, the lamplight flickering as though the house itself can feel his unease. He turns another page. The next entry begins differently. Shorter sentences, sharper tone, a tremor beneath every word. Michael, V.O., December 3rd. I met someone today. It wasn't planned. He just listened, really listened. For the first time in months, I felt seen. Michael freezes. His breath catches in his throat. He rereads the line, disbelief flickering across his face. Michael, V.O. Met someone? What does that even mean, Elena? He flips the page quickly, eyes scanning the next entry. Michael, V.O., December 8th. He's kind. He asks about my day and actually waits for the answer. It felt harmless at first, just conversation. But part of me knows why I keep talking to him. Michael's hands tremble. The words seem to blur. He slams the diary shut, then reopens it seconds later, desperate and terrified. Int. Kitchen. Flashback. Day Elena sits by the window, sunlight falling across her face. She's smiling, softly, genuinely, at someone across the table. We don't see who, only the warmth in her eyes. Mind sintro eintro adramandri frieder ton, wandri kinanandri. Bandriki V.O. Was it someone from work? A friend? A stranger? Or just a moment that meant more to her than I ever did? N.T. Bedroom. Night he reads on. Michael, V.O., December 15th. He doesn't know I'm married. I couldn't bring myself to say it. Maybe because when I'm with him, I don't feel invisible. I know it's wrong, but I feel alive again. Michael's face crumples. He presses his fist against his mouth, trying not to cry out. He sets the diary down, staring blankly ahead. Michael, V.O. You promised me forever, Elena, and I left you alone long enough to find forever somewhere else. Flashback. Int. Office. Night Michael sits at his desk, alone under fluorescent light, working through stacks of papers. His phone buzzes. Elena's name. He ignores it. On her end, at home, Elena watches the phone stop ringing. Her reflection in the dark window looks older, lonelier. Int. Bedroom. Continuous. Michael turns the page. Slower this time, almost afraid to breathe. Michael, V.O. December 29th. He kissed me. Just once. And I wish I could say I didn't want it. But I did. For a moment I forgot the silence, the distance, the cold. I remembered what it felt like to be wanted. Michael's eyes fill with tears. He grips the diary tighter, as if trying to crush the words out of existence. Michael, V.O. It wasn't just loneliness. It was everything I'd stopped giving her. He closes the diary and paces the room, haunted by every sound, every shadow. He knocks over a lamp. The light dies, plunging the room into dim, flickering darkness. Int. Bathroom. Night Michael splashes water on his face, staring at his reflection in the mirror. His eyes are swollen, his breath uneven. Michael, V.O. Was it my fault? Did I drive her into someone else's arms? Or was love always more fragile than I believed? He leans against the sink, exhausted, hollow. Michael, V.O., January 2nd. I told him I can't see him again. I love my husband, even if he's forgotten what that means. I just wish he could see me. Really see me. One more time. Michael sinks to the floor, sobbing quietly. Entweet. Bedroom. Later, he returns to the bed, wiping his face. He reopens the diary, not as a husband searching for truth, but as a man desperate to understand the woman he lost. Michael, V.O. She didn't leave me. She was reaching for me, even in her mistakes, and I never reached back. He stares at the final words of that entry, trembling. Michael, V.O. I still believe he could love me again, if he only tried. Michael closes the diary, holding it tight against his chest. Michael, V.O. There was no stranger. There was just a woman who'd forgotten what love felt like, and a man who'd forgotten how to show it. He looks up at her photo on the wall, his eyes full of regret, clarity, and breaking love. A soft gray light filters through the curtains. Michael sits at his desk surrounded by scattered diary pages, photographs, and notes. He hasn't shaved in days. His coffee's gone cold. He flips through the diary again, desperate, searching for something he might have missed. Michael, V.O. There had to be more. She wouldn't just stop writing. Not Elena. She always needed to finish what she started. He turns another page and freezes. The last entry ends mid-sentence. I never meant to. A tear stains the ink, but something else catches his eye. The faint outline of torn paper. He looks closer. Pages are missing. His heart begins to race. Michael, V.O. Someone took them out. Someone didn't want me to see how it ended. In T, living room. Day Michael rifles through a box of Elena's belongings. Books, drawings, scarves. The smell of her perfume still faint in the air. He finds an old photo of Elena and her younger sister, Ruth, smiling, arms around each other. Michael stares at the photo for a long time. Int. Ruth's house. Afternoon. Ruth opens the door. Cautious. Tired. She looks like someone who's been waiting for this moment. Ruth, Michael. I didn't think you'd come. Michael, I need to ask you something. Did you know she was keeping a diary? Ruth hesitates. Eyes dart away. Ruth, she mentioned it. Sometimes. But I never read it. Michael, did she ever talk about someone else? Someone who listened? Ruth looks at him. Guilt flickers across her face. Ruth, not the way you think. Michael, then tell me what I'm missing, Ruth. Please. Ruth sighs, tears forming in her eyes. She turns away, speaking softly. Ruth Elena was seeing a therapist, Michael, Dr. Adebayo. That's who she meant when she wrote about someone who listens. Michael blinks, stunned. Michael, a therapist? Ruth, yes. She didn't want you to know. She thought it would make you feel like you failed her. Silence fills the room. Michael sinks into a chair, numb. Michael, V.O. All this time, all that anger, that jealousy, for nothing. She wasn't unfaithful. She was just trying to heal. Ruth kneels beside him, handing him a small envelope. Inside, a business card. Dr. Adebayo, clinical psychologist, Ruth. He has the rest of her diary. She said she wanted you to have it one day. In T. Dr. Adebayo's office. Evening Michael sits across from Dr. Adebayo, a calm, kind man in his 50s. The air between them is heavy but gentle. Dr. Adebayo, Elena talked about you often. She wasn't angry with you, Michael. She was just tired of being unseen. Michael's eyes glisten. Michael, did she ever stop loving me? Dr. Adebayo slides a thin folder across the desk, pages bound with a ribbon. Dr. Adebayo, no. She never stopped. She wrote these for you, but only when you were ready. Michael takes the folder with trembling hands. Dr. Adebayo, softly. She wanted you to have this, someday, int, Michael's home. Night Michael sits by the window, the unopened pages in front of him. The storm outside has quieted. A still, waiting silence. He runs his fingers along the edge of the papers, then takes a deep breath. Michael, V.O. For weeks, I thought I was chasing another man. But maybe I was just chasing the truth. He unties the ribbon. Michael, V.O. And so I prepared myself to face her words one last time. The wind shifts the curtains. He opens the first missing page. The room is dimly lit. A small lamp glows beside Elena's favorite chair. Michael sits there now, her diary spread open before him, the last pages unbound and trembling in his hands. Outside, the world is quiet, the kind of silence that feels sacred. He exhales and begins to read. Michael, V.O. Reading Elena's words. Therapy was the first time I spoke without fear of being interrupted by love. Michael is a good man, maybe the best man I've ever known, but he doesn't see me anymore. Michael's throat tightens. He keeps reading. He sees my smile, my patience, my calm, but not the woman underneath it all. I don't think he means to ignore me. I think he's just too busy being who he believes he should be. Michael sets the page down, wiping at his eyes. His voice trembles. Michael, you were right. I was busy trying to build a life, but I forgot to live it with you. He continues reading. Flashback. Int. Bedroom. Night. Years earlier. Elena sits on the edge of the bed, writing in her diary. Michael walks past her, half distracted, on a phone call. She looks up at him, hopeful, then lowers her gaze when he doesn't notice. Elena, V.O. Diary. Sometimes I talk to someone else in my head. Someone who listens without rushing me, without fixing me. I call her E. She's the woman I used to be, before the silence. Back to present. Michael reading. He freezes. His lips part slightly as the realization dawns. Michael, V.O.E. It wasn't another person. It was her. He flips through the next few pages, heart pounding. Michael, V.O. Silent reading. I walk with E by the lake sometimes, not in body, but in memory. She reminds me to breathe, to laugh. She's the version of me that believed I was enough. Michael, softly. Oh my God. He stands, pacing slowly, one hand gripping the pages like they're sacred. Flashback. Int. Dining room. Evening. Elena sets the table for two. Candles flicker. The clock ticks past 8, then 9. She blows out the candles, sits alone, and writes in her diary. Elena, V.O. Diary. That night, I stopped waiting for him to choose me. I realized love isn't just staying. It's being seen. Back to present. Int. Living room. Night. Michael sinks to his knees, clutching the diary against his chest. His tears fall freely now, not out of anger, but from the weight of understanding. Michael, V.O. She wasn't confessing to betrayal. She was confessing to being invisible, to losing herself inside our life together. He flips to the final page. The ink faded, edges worn. Michael, V.O. Reading Elena's final entry. If he ever reads this, tell him I never stopped loving him. I just stopped being seen. I loved him in every silence, every goodbye, every time I pretended not to care. I loved him until I forgot who I was. E isn't someone else. She's the part of me that remembers. Montage. Flashbacks intercut with present Elena, laughing in sunlight, painting in their old apartment. Michael brushing past her in a rush, never seeing her eyes dim, her sitting alone, whispering to her reflection. I miss me. Michael now, broken, whispering to her ghost. Michael, I see you now. I see you, Elena. He clutches the last page tightly, then notices something written faintly at the bottom. A line almost erased by tears. Don't hate yourself for not knowing. Just promise me you'll remember me. Not as your wife, but as myself. Int. Living room. Continuous, Michael closes the diary slowly. The sound of rain begins again outside, soft and rhythmic, like breathing. He looks toward her chair, the faint outline of her figure in memory. Warm, still, forgiving, Michael V.O. For so long, I thought love was about being right. Now I know. It's about being there. He sets the diary on the table beside her favorite mug and painting brush. Her world, frozen in time. He leans back, exhausted, eyes glistening with a strange peace. Michael, softly. You were never gone. You were just waiting for me to finally look. He exhales deeply, the first calm breath in months. Fade to black. Michael, V.O. Love doesn't die when someone leaves. It just changes shape. Until one day, it teaches you how to see again. The world feels different now. Softer, slower. Sunlight filters through the trees as children play in the distance. Michael walks along the park's narrow path, holding a cup of coffee. He passes the lake, the same one Elena wrote about. For the first time, he stops to watch it. Michael V.O. Grief doesn't vanish. It just learns how to live beside you, like a quiet friend who never leaves, only whispers when you forget to listen. He closes his eyes, taking in the breeze. In tea. Michael's house. Day, the house looks lighter now. Not because anything's changed, but because he has. Her painting hangs completed on the wall. He's filled in the colors she never finished. Bold, uneven, but full of love. On the kitchen counter, a vase of wildflowers, her favorite. He waters them carefully. Michael, V.O. She once said art was a way to keep time from forgetting us. So I started painting again. Not because I'm good at it, but because it reminds me how she saw the world. Tat. School classroom. Afternoon, Michael stands at the front of Elena's old classroom. He's surrounded by smiling children, bright colors, and hand-painted posters. He hands a young girl a box of books labeled the Elena Rivera Reading Corner. Michael, V.O. I donated her books to the school where she taught. Each one has her name written inside. So maybe some child will feel her kindness in the pages she once touched. He kneels down, helping the kids arrange the books. A little boy looks up and asks softly, "Boy, was she your wife?" Michael smiles gently. Michael, yes, she still is in bedroom. Night. The camera pans over the familiar bedside table. On it, the diary, now closed, a small bookmark peeking out. Beside it lies a photo of Michael and Elena, taken years ago, young, laughing, unguarded. Michael sits on the edge of the bed with a notebook in hand. He opens it to a blank page and begins to write. Michael, V.O. For months, I couldn't touch her diary. Then one night I realized, love stories don't end when one person stops writing. Sometimes they wait for the other to start again. He writes slowly, deliberately. The words are simple, almost a whisper on paper. I see you now. I wish I had sooner. He places his pen down and looks toward her side of the bed. The air feels full, as if she's still there, smiling faintly. Finally seen. Montage, the passing seasons. Spring. Michael walking by the lake, sketchbook in hand, drawing the reflection of the sky. Summer. He attends an art fair, quietly standing beside Elena's framed painting. Autumn. He visits her grave with fresh flowers, setting the diary on the stone for a moment before holding it back to his chest. Winter. He sits by the fire, reading her words aloud, his voice calm, steady, no longer trembling. Michael, V.O. They say time heals everything, but it doesn't. It just teaches you how to carry the weight without breaking. He looks out the window, snow falling softly. In the reflection, for just a moment, we see Elena's faint image beside him, smiling, peaceful. XT. City Park. Day. Full circle. Michael walks along the lake again, the same path where he once felt lost. This time, he carries a sketchbook, the cover marked E&M. He stops at a bench and sits, flipping through pages filled with small drawings, memories of her, of them, of healing. Michael, V.O. Love doesn't end when someone leaves. It just finds new ways to speak. Through colors, through silence, through the parts of you they helped you discover. He smiles, looking out at the calm water. A gentle breeze turns a page of his sketchbook, revealing his latest drawing. A woman standing by the lake, eyes closed, wind in her hair. At the bottom, he's written, "For Elena, the woman who taught me how to see." Fade out Michael, V.O. You can't fix what's gone, but you can carry what mattered. And sometimes, that's enough. Fade to black. Soft piano music fades in, gentle, hopeful, and eternal.